They are devastated, and not the kind of devastated that fades after a good night's sleep. The kind that sits in your chest at 2 a.m. and will not let you breathe right. The kind where you close your eyes and all you see is that moment. Their guilt, isn't a feeling anymore. It's a verdict. And the wildest part, you didn't even have to say a word for them to arrive there. You just walked away. And that walk, that quiet, composed, dignified walk, is the thing that's destroying them right now more than anything else ever could. Let me tell you exactly what happened. And more importantly, let me tell you what's happening to them right now. Because this is the part nobody talks about. You were blamed. Maybe it was at work. Maybe it was a situation where suddenly your name was in people's mouths. And you had no idea how it got there. Maybe it was in your family, your friend group, a circle you thought was safe. But something went wrong. A problem showed up. Something real, something messy. And instead of anyone dealing with the actual source of it, they turned around and pointed at you. And here is the thing that makes it so gutting. It wasn't just one person. It was multiple people. A whole cluster of voices all saying the same thing, all pointing in the same direction at you. And when that many people are saying the same thing, it sounds like truth. It looks like truth, actually. That's exactly why they did that way. There is safety in numbers when you are trying to bury someone. If it's just one person making an accusation, people question it. But 5, 6, a group, that feels like evidence. That feels like consensus. And consensus, to most people, feels like fact. So that's what they weaponized. Not proof, not reality, just volume, just noise loud enough to drown you out. You got let go, terminate, released, backballed, excluded, whatever specific word your situation were. The outcome was the same. You lost something. Your source of income, your place in the group, your seat at the table you'd built. And here's what made it so deeply painful. You knew it wasn't true. You knew exactly what you did and didn't do. You knew where you stood, and you had to stand there face to face with the accusation and feel the full weight of something that had your name on it, but was never yours to carry. But here is the moment I really want to sit in with you for a second, maybe for a minute, because this is the moment that changed everything, even though it didn't look like it at the time. When they confronted you, when they told you it was over, that you were being let go, that they were cutting ties, that you needed to go, they were waiting for something. They were braced for it. They wanted you to snap. They wanted you to fight back, raise your voice, list every defense, every alibi, every piece of evidence you had. They wanted you to cry, to beg, to argue, to fall apart. Because if you did any of that, they could point to it and say, see, this is who they really are. They were setting a trap with the confrontation itself. And you didn't walk into it. You looked at them and you said, and I can almost hear how calm your voice was. That's okay. It's fine. And then you turned around and you walked out. No speech, no breakdown, no last word. Just, that's okay. It's fine. And you left. Do you understand what that did to them? They didn't know what to do with that. They had prepared for a fight, and you gave them silence. Nothing. They had prepared to be justified by your reaction, and you gave them nothing to work with. The people who engineered this whole thing, who counted on you exploding, on you making yourself look exactly as bad as they'd claimed, watched you walk away like someone who already knew something they didn't. Like someone who wasn't afraid of the truth coming out. And that image, that specific image of you walking away, got lodged in their minds like a splinter. Right from the beginning. Yeah, right from the beginning, before they even knew what was coming. Now, there is where it gets heavy. The truth came out. Yeah, the truth came out. I don't know exactly how it happened. Maybe someone talked, maybe it was the actual person responsible slipped up. But maybe time just did what time does, which is eventually make everything visible. But however it unfolded, the real story surfaced. The actual culprit got caught. The actual source of the problem was exposed. And suddenly everyone who had been nodded along with the accusations, everyone who had just trusted that these people can be wrong, had to sit with that, with what they'd done. And those people, the ones who were not even part of creating the lie, but who believed it, because it seemed like everyone else did, are the ones I want to talk about right now. Because they are in a specific kind of hell that the people who orchestrated the whole thing cannot even fully see, fully feel. See, the people who made it up, some part of them always knew. Yeah, there is a numbing that happens when you are the one constructing a false reality. You have made peace with the lie in some way, or you wouldn't have done it. But the people who just believed it, who repeated it, who voted with the majority, who let their silence be complicit, who maybe even added to it because it felt safe to agree. They don't have that protection. They thought they were just following the truth. They thought they were making a responsible, reasonable judgment. And now they find out that they were in an instrument, in something they didn't fully understand, used to destroy someone who didn't deserve it. That's a different kind of guilt. That's the kind that makes you replay your own behavior through a completely different lens. Every nod they gave, every yeah, I heard the same thing. Every time they passed on the information, it's all reorganized now. It's all, and it doesn't look like trust or discernment anymore. It looks like exactly what it was. Here's the metaphor that I keep coming back to when I think about what really happened in this situation. The truth is like a silver mirror. And what they did, the blaming, the accusing, the building of this whole case against you, was like throwing a stone at that mirror in a fit of rage. They shattered it. They thought they were destroying the reflection they hated. But here is what they didn't understand. That reflection was never you. What they were seeing in that mirror, the thing that made them so uncomfortable, so threatened, so desperately to destroy, was their own guilt staring back at them, their own smallness, their own fear. And when they shattered the mirror, they didn't make the image go away. They just broke it into 100 pieces. And now every single shard is cutting them. Every fragment is reflecting the same thing from a different angle. They can't look anywhere without seeing themselves. That's what's happening. That's what's happening to them right now. They are surrounded by the broken pieces of their own lies, and every sharp edge has their fingerprints on it. But the thing that's burning them, and I mean really burning them, isn't just that they were wrong. It's how you handled it. It's the replay, because they keep going back to that moment. They keep seeing you in the confrontation, hearing those words. That's okay, it's fine. These words, that's okay, it's fine. And watching you walk away. And before the truth came out, the memory hit one way. It was uncomfortable maybe, but they could explain it away. Maybe you were in shock, maybe you were just didn't have a response, maybe you were being avoidant. But now they are watching that same memory with the volume turned all the way up. Now that they know you were innocent, completely, entirely innocent, that moment plays completely differently. Because what they are seeing now isn't someone who had nothing to say. What they are seeing now is someone who knew, someone who trusted so completely in the truth, eventually coming out that they didn't need to fight for it in that room. Someone who had enough self-respect and enough faith in reality to simply step back and let the truth do its own work on its own timeline. That composure wasn't resignation. That composure was conviction. And they can feel it now. They can feel the difference between someone who doesn't defend themselves because they are guilty and someone who doesn't defend themselves because they knew, they know, they knew they don't need to. And you were the second one every single time. And they missed it completely because they were so caught up in volume, in consensus, in the comfort of just going along with what seemed like the obvious conclusion. Think about that for a second from their perspective. Because this is the part that's really keeping them up at night. They spent so long building a case against you, gathering the voices, coordinating the story, making sure the narrative was tight enough to hold. They worked hard on this. And the whole time, the truth didn't need any of that. The truth wasn't building a case. The truth wasn't calling witnesses or rehearsing arguments of making sure the timing was right. The truth just needed time. That's it. Just time. And while they were busy constructing something that required constant maintenance, the truth was just sitting there, patient, waiting for the moment when it could simply be seen. You don't need a lawyer when you have the truth on your side. You don't need a strategy. You don't need to out-argue anyone. You just need to wait. And you did. And now they are the ones left holding a case that fell apart the moment reality showed up. The silence you are probably noticing from them right now. The absence, the distance, the way they've gone quiet. That's not them moving on. That's not them unbothered. That silence is the sound of their pride collapsing under the weight of what they know now. Pride is loud. Yes, pride is loud when it's winning. It announces itself. It makes accusations. It gathers support. It builds a consensus. But when pride breaks, when it comes face to face with the undeniable reality of what it did, it goes silent. The silence isn't peace. That silence is the aftermath. That silence is them sitting alone with the full weight of it and having absolutely nowhere to put it. Now, let's talk about what they are realizing. Yeah, because this is the shift that's really gutting them, the one they can't rationalize their way out. For a while, they got to play the victim in this story. They got to be the ones who were protecting the group, exposing the problem, doing the hard thing. Yeah, they built an identity around the narrative that they created about you. And that felt powerful, that felt righteous. But now that the real picture is clear, they are realizing they were never the victim in this story. They were the villain, not in a cartoonish way, not in a way they can easily dismiss, in a quite specific, undeniable way. They were the villain of their own story. And the protagonist, the person who stayed calm, who said it's fine, who walked out with their dignity completely intact, was you. Yeah, that role reversal is not something they can unfeel. It's permanent, and it's doing something to them internally that no amount of justification can undo. And here's what else they are realizing. Maybe the hardest part of all of this for them to sit with. Their tears are not an apology yet. Let me say that again because it matters. Their tears are not an apology yet. What their tears actually are is the price they are paying for finally understanding what they lost. Not just being wrong about a situation, but losing access to someone who, even in the worst moment, even when being pushed out the door based on lies, chose grace over retaliation, chose dignity over drama. Someone who when given every reason to burn the whole thing down on their way out, said, "It's fine," and walked. Do you know how rare this is? That is, do you understand what that quality is worth? They are realizing it now. And the tears are the receipt. The tears are the moment when the full cost of what they did and what they lost in doing it finally shows up on the bill. The tears that are coming from their side right now. And they are tears, real ones. Those are not just about guilt over being wrong. Those tears are about who you showed them you were, and the realization of what they participated in against a person like that. That's the weight they cannot put down. Because it's not abstract, it's specific. It is the look on your face when you said it's fine. It's the way you carried yourself out of that room. It's the fact that you didn't make them feel small even when they were doing something small to you. And now that memory is replaying, playing, and it's hitting differently every single time. Deeper each time. Because the truth just keeps adding weight to it. Here is the thing you need to understand, and I really need you to hear this clearly. You don't need to explain your side anymore. No, that time is over. You don't need to go back and lay out the timeline or prove what you did or did not, or make anyone understand your position. The universe already handled that. The universe just handed them the receipt for every single lie they told about you, every accusation they made, every nod they gave to a story that wasn't true. That receipt is detailed. It's and they are reading every line of it right now, whether they want to or not. Justice in real life doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a White Tuesday when someone finds out the truth and has to sit along with that, with what they did. And that's exactly what's happening. There is something I want you to understand about yourself right now, and I want you to really let this land. You probably felt defenseless in that moment. You probably walked out of that confrontation feeling like this hollow, aching combination of relief that you didn't react and grief that you couldn't defend yourself the way part of you wanted to. You knew you were innocent. You knew the truth. And you had to swallow that and just walk away. Just walk. And that takes a particular kind of strength that most people don't have, because it doesn't feel like strength when you're doing it. It feels like loss. It feels like you're giving something up. It feels like letting them win. But you were not letting them win. No. You were giving the truth time to do what the truth always does. And here's the part that I think you need to hear most. You are probably feeling something complicated right now yourself because of that. Maybe you heard that the truth came out and part of you felt this wave of vindication. Yeah, vindication. Finally. And then immediately underneath that was something else. A tiredness. A sadness. Not because you are not relieved. Not because you remember how it felt. You remember the exact texture of that time period, the loss, the confusion, the way it messed with your sense of yourself, the wondering if anyone would ever actually see clearly. And that doesn't just evaporate when the truth comes out. The vindication is real, and so is the grief. Both of those things can live in you at the same time, and both of them are completely valid. What's happening to the people on the other side is also real. Their guilt is not performance. It's not just embarrassment about being wrong. It's a reckoning, a genuine, uncomfortable, or sometimes tearful confrontation with the fact that they participated in something that cost an innocent person something real. And the image of you walking away with your dignity completely intact is the thing they cannot escape. It is the mirror they didn't ask to look into. You, my beautiful soul, you in that moment showed them exactly who you were. And they, in that moment, showed themselves exactly who they were. And now everyone knows which version of that story was true. Your exit wasn't just graceful. Your exit was the truth in motion. And some part of them recognized it even then. Which is why it bothered them from the start. Which is why seeing you composed made them anger, not less. Because dignity on an innocent person is one of the most unsettling things to witness when you are in the middle of doing something wrong. It doesn't let you be comfortable. It keeps asking a question you don't want to answer. And now, with everything out in the open, the question has an answer. And they are living with it. You walked away once, clean, with everything intact that actually matters. And they have to stay in that room with what they did. Their guilt isn't going anywhere, not quickly, not easily, because guilt tied to something this specific, this visible, this unnecessary doesn't just dissolve. It teaches, it does something to a person over time. And whether they ever come to you with it or not, whether you ever get the apology or the acknowledgement directly, you need to know that the reckoning is happening. It's real. Their tears are not a metaphor. And you already have what you need. You have the truth. You have your own memory of who you were in that moment. You have the knowledge that when it mattered most, under pressure that would have cracked most people wide open, you chose something higher. You chose your own integrity over their chaos. You said, it's fine. Not because it was fine, but because you were fine. Because you knew who you were. And no group of voices, no matter how loud, no matter how many, could actually take that from you. That's yours. That's yours. That has always been yours. And now everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.